Wildcat fans, we have a treat. We have with us on the show today transfer guard Zahir Porter. He's coming in as a junior this year with the Wildcats. Looking forward to an opportunity to see him in the Purple Palace, hopefully in January. But wanted to welcome you to Weber State Weekly, Zahir Porter.
How you doing? Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, good. So good. And like we said, super grateful for you to come on the show and talk a little bit about you, your journey to Ogden, and kind of what we can expect this season. So we wanted to start out by just kind of giving the Wildcat fans a little bit of info about who you are, your background, where you're coming from. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You're originally from New York. Walk us through that.
Yeah, I'm from Bronx, New York. That's one of the most known places you could say in New York, if I describe it. But yeah, I lived there all my life. I love it, but I guess it was time for me to get away, change the scenery, environment.
So coming out of high school, went and played at the New York Institute of Technology. Is that right? As a freshman? Yep. And then played one season there and then transferred later to college in Kansas. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us the school name again.
Independence Community College.
Independence. Yeah. So how did you find out about that opportunity to go from New York IT to Independence Community College in Kansas?
So after the season, I had to talk with my parents, and I just decided that I really wanted to go D1 because that's what I really wanted to do my whole life. So the easiest way was to go to the JUCO route where I could get recruited easily. So I called my AAU coach, and he got me in contact with Coach Marasco, and he offered me a scholarship. So that's how I ended up in Kansas.
Man, that's great. And so once you were, you had a good season at Independence Community College out there, and I know that Coach Ray and some of the other coaches on staff here at Weber State they've got good recruiting connections in Kansas. We've had good luck there. Certain guys like Jarek Harding and others come to Ogden because by way of Kansas. And so is that kind of where you got on Weber State's radar, playing in Kansas?
No, my AAU coach had reached out to Coach Ray. I mean Coach Daniels, because they're very good friends, I guess. And he just decided to come down and see me practice. And he said he loved the way I played. And after practice, he had offered me a scholarship.
Sorry, Zahir. I just wanted to ask you, so you make this trip from the Bronx to Kansas, now to Utah, and you say you love New York. And so I want to know, tell me a little bit more about that. Like, how difficult of a transition has that been? Because those are three very, very different places.
Yeah, but I felt like once I got out of New York and I went to Kansas, I guess like it can't get any more worse than Kansas. Like Kansas is kind of boring. It was really different when I left New York for the first time and went to Kansas. So I guess that coming out to Utah wasn't really that much of a big thing on my mind. That's why.
Did you know about Weber State before you came out here, before you committed?
Yeah, I heard of Damian Lillard, coming through there. Used to talk about that a lot.
He's the star, man. He's the one that put us on the map, if you will, in recent vintage.
Oh man, put some honor on the name of Eddie the Thrill Gill, dude. Come on, man.
Dude, I was around for Eddie Gill. I was around for Harold the Show Arsenault too.
Yeah, the Show Arsenault. Come on, man.
That's why I said recent vintage. Recent vintage.
Yeah, I mean, Zahir wasn't even born. It's okay. Like that's different generation, man.
That's fair. So Zahir, I wanted to talk a little bit about the recruiting process this year, because it was a little weird. Before we started the show, you told us that your trip to Ogden had gotten canceled, and so talk to us a little bit about what that recruiting process was like this year before you chose to make the commitment and come to Ogden to become a Wildcat.
Yeah, I had cut down my list from 10 schools to like about 3, and we made the top 3. So that's when I decided to start scheduling my visits, and then they started getting canceled one by one because of COVID. So then I actually thought I was going to be able to get to come to Weber because campus was still open and they were still having classes. But then the day of, Coach Daniels and Coach Ray had called me and said they had to cancel the visit and stuff like that.
Ah, man. So had you already flown to Utah at that point?
It was like I literally had just gotten up and I was about to get my stuff to go to the airport, and then he had called me.
Yeah, that was.
So I got a question about the recruiting. We've got, 9 new players on the team this year, so almost a completely different team. As a transfer, does that excite you that you've got all these new teammates and that there's a whole new crew, or does that give you a little bit of pause because it's a whole new crew and nobody knows what's up and nobody knows where the playing time's going to end up. How do you feel about that?
I feel like I'm excited to play with them because of the group of guys we had. We've been practicing and going at it for a couple of weeks now. So I guess that's kind of out of the window. So I'm just excited to see like what the lineups is going to be and stuff like that. So,
did any of the other transfer players have influence on you coming to Ogden and Weber State?
No, I hadn't spoken to anybody before I committed to Weber.
So with that in mind, what's it been like to get to know all these guys coming from, I mean, they've come from a lot of different places in Ogden. What's that been like?
It's good because we have talks all the time about like why we decided to come out here and stuff like that, and how we were recruited and what made the decision and stuff like that. So I guess I've gotten very close with them like over the past couple months.
So in the recruiting process, you're going through this stuff. You can't even come to campus at all. Mm-hmm. And you wanted a D1 school. What was it about Weber State specifically that made you say, you know what, I want to end up in Ogden?
Because the second half of the season, I was kind of like in a slump. So schools were kind of like falling off and not speaking to me. But Coach Ray and Coach Daniels kept in contact all the time, made it seem like I was a priority here. And ever since I've been here, they've shown nothing but love and definitely taking care of me and lived up to everything they said was going to happen here.
Yeah, it seems to be a theme. Damian Lillard has even said that numerous times. Loyalty seems to be the trademark of the Weber State basketball program.
Yes, sir.
Zahir, you talked a little bit about this, but we wanted to ask you, how much do you think having a long off season will benefit the team this year, especially with 9 new players and some chemistry that's got to build? What do you think about the long off season and its impact on the roster?
I feel like the months of COVID that we had taken off, because gyms weren't open and there weren't any access. I guess the long off season is getting everybody, back into the shape they were in and getting everybody like back in the rhythm. So I guess that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so Zahir, I've been to the Bronx. Spent a lot of time in New York. Spent in New York City. Talk to me about first impressions of Ogden. What you think of the place, and what you're looking forward to with the winter that's not nearly as humid and windy as it is in New York City.
I was kind of excited when I got here because in Kansas there weren't anything like for us to eat around me. I would have to drive about 30 minutes to get a good meal. So at least there was different, varieties, supermarkets and stuff for me to go to. I guess that, and it wasn't really much of a change, I guess, because I'm used to cities. It's just a smaller version, I guess, very quiet.
So I want to know, Chappie asked you about your first impression of Ogden. I want to know your first impression of the D. When you walked in there, what do you think when you see it for the first time?
And I just was trying to imagine what it looked like filled up.
So do we.
I haven't really played in an arena like this before, so it's definitely new. So I was definitely excited.
I tell you what, get your earplugs out, because if it's even halfway full and you guys are putting on a show, that place gets loud. And there's not a louder building in the country than the D Event Center when the Wildcats are going strong. So one thing we know about Ogden is the fans will come out and support you, and we love a winner. So you guys play well on the court, and you'll have support, and it'll be great. Best fans in the Big Sky, and most fans in the Big Sky by far.
So here I wanted to talk a little bit about your game. And I wanted to talk about, as a player, as you developed, is there a specific player in the NBA or maybe in the college game that you looked to say, I'd like to play my game like that, or borrowed certain things from other players? Like, who do you model your game on the most, kind of as a foundation, and then take it from there?
Actually, like, my favorite player is Paul George, but not at the moment.
Not playoff P?
Not at the moment.
You like regular season P, not playoff P, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Well, Paul George plays for the Clippers too, right? Can't be cheering for the Clippers.
He was like always my favorite player. I always loved the way he played. Yeah, I would say Paul George. More the defensive aspect. Stuff like that. I can score. Pass, make plays for others. I feel like Paul George is that's what I'm modeling my game at.
What are fans going to see from you this year? What's the one thing that you do better than anybody else on the team that as we're screaming for you in the Purple Palace, hopefully we get to have fans in the arena this year? What are we going to see out of Zahir Porter this year?
I love to make plays, so definitely a lot of highlight plays, stuff like that.
So I'm going to have the hashtag SC Top 10 ready whenever I see you on the court.
Hopefully.
Hey, there we go. That's what I like to hear.
So from what we've learned this season, it looks like there's going to be things are obviously going to be a little bit shorter. The season will start on November the 25th, which cuts into our non-conference play, which is usually the time when the Wildcats they begin to build, a bit of their chemistry, and so that'll be cut short a little bit. But looking at the schedule, and if conference schedule stays about the same, I wanted to ask you if there's a specific game that you have circled on your calendar, like that's the one I'm looking forward to that game. Anyone in particular that you're looking forward to, Zahir?
When we play Utah State at home,
Ooh.
that's one of the biggest games I'm looking forward to because of what happened last year.
That is a big game, man, because the last time the Aggies came to the D, we beat them. And we haven't had such great luck since then. We lost in the Smith Spectrum. That was a bad game. And we also lost in the Beehive Classic the year before that. So I would love to see you guys ball out against a good Utah State team who's seen a bit of a renaissance in Logan, but we want to show them that we're seeing one in Ogden as well.
That game is definitely circled for everybody. We have talked about that.
I hope we get to play it. I hope we get to see that game because there's a lot of fans that look forward to that one.
Yeah, and make sure that those fans will be wearing purple in the stands, not navy blue.
Hey,
All right.
Zahir, along those same lines, our panel, we've talked about it, who we think Weber State's biggest in-conference rival is, and there's been a bit of a disagreement. And so as far as an in-conference opponent, is there a game that y'all look forward to a little bit more than the others?
I haven't really gone through conference like that, but I would say from me talking to like the teammates that were here last year, I would say like Southern Utah, that's what they were telling me, I guess, or Eastern Washington, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Both good games. For the fans, I'll just tell you straight up, and somebody will disagree with me, but Montana, they'll get under your skin pretty quickly.
Yeah.
They do get under your skin pretty quick. And it's like usually before they've even left the state, they're already under your skin. And then they drive through Idaho and come to Utah and they're under your skin. Like it's already happening because I hate them so much. I wanted to ask Zahir, well, good point on SUU. They've had a decent team down there in Cedar City for the past couple of seasons. We were able to beat them in the D this year, which I think was nice. And so be looking forward to that game for sure. I wanted to also ask about the team. You've talked about, you've spent some time with the guys. You've had some time to do some practice. I saw, a few videos on Twitter lately. And so as you've gotten to know some of these guys and spent some time, who would you say thus far is your favorite teammate or the person you like to spend the most time with?
The one I spend the most time with, I would say either Corbin Cunningham or Tavian Person.
Who's the funniest guy on the team? Who's the guy that's cracking you up on the text thread or on the whatever social media, the TikTok or whatever you guys are using to communicate as a team?
Tavian Person.
Yeah.
Now you and Tavian, you two might be at odds for the next little bit because he's a Heat fan.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier in the house.
No wagers on that. Gambling's against the NCAA ordinances, so don't put anything down on that. But go Heat.
Yeah.
No money, but someone can shave their head or something, right?
Yep.
Hey, well, I'll ask the question. I mean, how does a kid from the Bronx end up being a Lakers fan?
Man, I'm also a LeBron fan. I always loved LeBron, like my whole life. So, and it's just inevitable that they're just gonna win the championship. Like their team is just too good.
My last question here was about NBA 2K. When we had Jordan Turner on from the football team a couple of weeks ago, we asked him who the best Madden player was. And so we thought we'd return the favor here with you and see who's the best NBA 2K player on the team.
I don't want to say it, but Corbin Cunningham. He's the only person on the team that has BB.
Oh.
Like 2 times.
So you're like,
Wow.
you're up there, but he's just, he got you a couple times. So you're top notch.
Yeah.
So I got to know, when you're playing 2K, do you play like us old people? When I play 2K, I'm franchise mode and I don't make any trades. I got to play with my team as it's built on the roster. Are you making rosters and putting LeBron on your? Well, he's already on your favorite team, but are you moving rosters around so you can get a super team, or you play the team as built by the real life?
I usually just play the team that's really built by Bill Life. Because I team that I like or like that I feel like I can play with. So
yeah.
You don't do my play or anything? Go play in the park?
Of course, I play my player all the time.
Well, Zahir, we appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us and chat a little bit about who you are and what brought you to Ogden and what we can expect as Wildcat fans this season. We're looking forward to seeing you in action in the Purple Palace making plays. So, keep working hard in the gym, and we'll be looking forward to November 25th coming up real soon, hopefully.
Yes, sir. So am I.
If Wildcat fans want to follow you on Twitter, what's your handle?
I honestly don't know.
Oh.
Are you on any social media at all?
Yeah. I have Instagram, but I don't know it off the top of my head.
All right. Well, no worries. Just
we'll find it and plug it.
Yeah, just know Wildcat fans that he's on Instagram and Twitter, and you can follow him there and stay up to date. You especially during the NBA Finals, you'll see this man's takes. So Zahir Porter, appreciate you coming on Weber State Weekly this week.
Weber State Weekly is a Deep State Media production. Producer is Kobe Peterson. Director and editor is Daniel Martinez.